Infernal greetings, everybody. It's Reverend Jack, and I had told you that I would update you with anything that went on with Diakon, stress the Diakon Family Lutheran Services. If you had remember, there was a big issue because they are hypocrites and bigots. The receptionist, Jess, or Jessica, whatever she wants to call herself, when I go in, she throws me my paper, yet people before me and behind me, she hands them to them. But she throws it to me like a dog. And then she has the nerve to go, God bless. So I go, hail Satan. And that was a continuing thing. And if you remember, I told you in the first paper letter that they gave me, they covered up my complaint about my First Amendment freedom of speech and freedom of religion being violated by them. And that they told me that I was allowed to wear my robe at any counseling sessions, and that I was allowed under freedom of speech to use my Hail Satan address, which I do everywhere and everything. But I told you that was all set up because they said that if anything causes a disturbance to staff or clients that would hinder their ability, that they would be having a shit fit. And that letter was signed by Laurel Spencer. And when that letter was given to me, she played Hitler. She was the only one allowed to speak. Nobody else was allowed to speak. If you went to say something, you were told to shut up. That you're not allowed to speak. She's speaking, and then as soon as she got done, so that I couldn't address my concerns, she ran out the room. And as I predicted, we'll get to another one in just a second that proves my point that it was a setup. However, then she comes out with this: all appointments must be canceled before the close of the previous day of business. Any appointment canceled after hours on the answering machine or on the same day of scheduled appointment will be considered a no-show. Any client no-show to appointments will be discharged from service. Any clients discharged due to attendance will not be able to return for services. That's one way she set me up, folks. Because being a diabetic, I am not able to give a 24-hour schedule of when my sugar is going to drop down to 37, 50, 80, whatever. Nor can I tell them, and it's scheduled 24 hours in advance, when my back pain is going to be so severe that I can't move. Again, it was signed by her Führer, Laurel Spencer. All because I demand my equality and my freedoms and to be treated like a human being instead of just when she takes her hands off her ribs or whatever it is, she's always eating back there, throwing the paper at me. Now, dig this one. This was dated June the 2nd. Dear Reverend Winters, we are writing to inform you that your counseling services from Diakon, Die is the appropriate thing, because they want me to give up or die in my religion and adopt a dead corpse on 2 pieces of wood as a religion in order to get services there. They are the only ones that have any freedoms of speech there. Muslims don't even have freedom of speech unless you're Lutheran and you belong to the wacko section of Lutherans that they belong. And again, Diakon operates in several states along the East Coast. So if you want your freedoms and you want your equalities, you've got to be a wacko Lutheran like Laurel. But before I read this one, I want to talk to you about the counselor. Her name is Lisa Dadia, and she calls herself a cafeteria Catholic. In other words, she accepts for what she wants from the Catholic Church and then doesn't follow what she doesn't want, such as she's been shacked up with some guy for a while, which according to the Catholic Bible makes her the whore of Babylon. She even admitted that one time in counseling. But anyway, she carries around a witch's date book. Last time I knew in Catholicism, that was forbidden knowledge. And I'm sure if she wrote and asked the Pope about her lifestyle and everything, she'd be excommunicated. But anyway, she would always ask me, she wanted a black rose, she wanted a red rose. She works at the Women's State Prison here in Muncie, Pennsylvania. And one day she hurt her foot. And I don't know, she must have dropped something because she told us that she never got up and saw any of the clients down there at the state prison. She got reports and she did her evaluation via reports without talking to the clients. Her own words. But anyway, she hurt herself. So she asked for a little bit of potion or something. I just gave her some shea butter to help soften up the nail so it'll come off easier. Because it was going to come off. But the fact is, she's not supposed to be asking any client for anything. But she does. And most of the sessions, she would be asking me what things meant in the witch's date book. And then after 30 minutes, 45-minute session, you'd go to talk and she's either looking down at the floor and you'd have to repeat yourself, or she's looking out the window and you'd have to repeat yourself. So to me, that's not really a therapist. That's just somebody who's sitting there waiting their time out so they can get their pay, go home, and do whatever. Whatever she did with the black and the red rose, I don't know, or shea butter that she requested and I gave her. I don't know if she requests things of other people or not. I really don't care. But anyway, let's get back to the letters. The letter. Thinking about the salad I'm getting ready to eat. Anyway, June 2nd, 2011, in reference to notice of termination of services. Now, because I wore my robe and I said, "Hail Satan, here we come," I told you that letter was a setup that they would claim that if I wore my robe or I said, "Hail Satan," that they would declare it a disturbance. I told you that in the first video about them. And then Laurel set up this one about missing days, knowing that I can't schedule my low blood sugars or high blood sugars 24 advanced, knowing my pain levels. We have communicated with you on several occasions over the past 6 months. She's a fucking liar. I have called her telephone, which promises to call you back, to discuss issues with her, and she fails to return my calls. And I was polite when I made request for her to give me a call back, because I wanted to discuss the letter about the 24 hours. However, if I did miss an appointment, I was always 5 to 6 hours calling them and letting them know I wasn't going to be able to make it. So that was fair. One cannot schedule one's health issues, even though Madame her Führer Hitler would like you to. But she did not communicate with me. She avoided me at all costs. So that is a lie right there. Both in writing and in person. Another lie. Only got the one letter where she dictated and didn't allow anybody to comment on. And she ran out the room as soon as she read it so that nobody could comment on it, during which nobody was allowed to speak, and she only gave the letter of missing appointments. So, and she never met with me in person but the one time. Regarding your behavior while on our premises. My behavior, wearing my robe and saying Hail Satan when somebody says God bless, that's violating my freedom of speech. That's violating my freedom of religion. And that's also forcing her craziness upon me. If I choose not to believe in some idiot that thought he was something that he wasn't and ended up on 2 pieces of wood, I don't have to. But she wanted to force that down my throat. We have consistently indicated that we expect clients to treat our staff and other clients with respect and to act in a manner that does not disrupt our operations. So my robe and replying to Jessica's God bless when she threw the paper at me like I was a dog, I reply Hail Satan. I guess Jessica thought that was a disturbance, so I guess she got her greasy fingers up and wrote up a complaint or something. But maybe she should be fired for all the time that she's telling people God bless. That's no worse than me following my religion and saying Hail Satan. Despite our clear and consistent communication with you, which there has been no communication, every time I tried to call Worrell, the bitch would avoid me. Why? Because she wants to have a one-sided conversation where she can play Hitler and nobody can challenge her authority. Give that bitch a little bit of authority and she becomes Hitler. We have continued to receive complaints from our staff and from other clients about your rude and destructive conduct. My rude, destructive conduct. I wear my robe. I carry a book to read, such as the Demonic Bible, the Satanic Bible. Let's see, I got a shitload of books over there on my bookshelf that I would take and read while I was waiting. So that's rude and disruptive conduct. No, that's called freedom of religion and freedom of speech. However, I forgot, since she's a Nazi and a fascist, only her craziness is allowed. Therefore, we have made the decision to terminate counseling services to you.